I want to talk about 5 ways to lower A1C without Ozempic. Many of the patients that I've treated over the years have told me, Doc, I do not want to be a diabetic, and I definitely don't want to be on medications for the rest of my life. And I get it. We're surrounded by a myriad of options when it comes to addressing all kinds of symptoms and ailments with pharmaceuticals, but many people simply don't want to feel tied to prescription medications, and they would often rather find a more organic way of reaching their health goals. It's true that many people are finding success losing weight and lowering their A1C, reversing type 2 diabetes with the aid of the GLP-1 medications like Ozempic. But the reality is there are still a lot of people who don't want to travel down that road to get where they want to go. So here are 5 things that you can do organically and naturally to lower your A1C. As always, I encourage you to discuss these ideas with your doctor to make sure there's not something unique about your particular situation that would preclude you from implementing the things that I talk about. Number 1, because the primary reason A1C becomes elevated is the presence of persistently high glucose floating around in the bloodstream relative to someone with a low or normal A1C. The first key to lowering A1C naturally is to decrease the intake of food or food products which raise blood glucose in the first place. Now, that may seem daunting if you don't know what those foods happen to be, but there are some rules of thumb and tools that can make it easier to determine if a particular food is worth eating. So the first rule of thumb is simply to avoid production or manufactured food products. So what does that mean? It means that if something you're considering eating happens to come packaged in a box, manufactured bag, wrapped in cellophane, or simply has the capability of sitting on a grocery store shelf for months, if not years on end, there is a very high likelihood that products such as these contain high levels of sugar and other hidden carbohydrates, all of which have the capacity to raise blood glucose and A1C. Another rule of thumb is to limit high glycemic foods, foods which happen to contain a higher level of carbohydrates or sugars than other foods. If you're not sure which foods are higher than others in terms of their carbohydrate or sugar content, then a glycemic index chart can be a very helpful reference tool for you. A glycemic index chart shows you, for example, that donuts have a much higher glycemic rating than strawberries. Donuts, by one of the charts that I looked at, have a glycemic index rating of 76, whereas strawberries have a glycemic index rating of 40. Turn those strawberries into strawberry jam, which suddenly has a higher concentration of sugar, and the strawberry jam has a glycemic index of 53, which is 13 points higher than strawberries in their natural state. Which brings me to another point to keep in mind, and that is this. Anything that takes a natural food and alters it through some degree of processing will often increase the concentration of sugars contained within this new food product relative to the food in its original state. I think most people would agree that strawberry jam is no longer simply a strawberry, and the same occurs with other foods as well. Take the glycemic index of a boiled potato, which has a glycemic index rating of 54. Turn it into mashed potatoes by adding milk, cream, or other ingredients, and the glycemic index goes up to 83. Point being, a glycemic index chart can help you learn to eat in a more thoughtful and strategic manner, which can naturally help you reduce your intake of sugars and help you lower your A1C. Number 2, commit to getting fit and make exercise part of your daily routine. Exercise has multiple benefits by keeping our bones and muscles strong, especially when strength training or weightlifting is incorporated into your routine. But in general, whether we're talking about strength training or just some form of aerobic exercise such as jogging, swimming, playing tennis, or simply engaging in a daily walking routine, exercise helps lower A1C because it helps us metabolize glucose in the bloodstream. Aerobic exercise and strength training have both been shown to play a role in the prevention of type 2 diabetes, as well as increasing the likelihood of staving off dementia as we age. Number 3, lose weight. Number 3 is a sibling of number 2, because in addition to making a commitment to getting fit, if you happen to be carrying extra weight, striving to lose weight and reach a healthier, more ideal weight for your height can also be key when it comes to lowering your A1C naturally without medications like Ozempic. Many people cringe nowadays when weight is discussed, but it's important to talk about because excess weight and obesity are tied to the development of a significant number of health disorders: osteoarthritis, high blood blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, heart and kidney disease, as well as various cancers and dementia. Where A1C is concerned, if we allow our diet to go unchecked and we're eating foods which keep our blood glucose consistently in a higher range than is good for us, the body finds itself in a constant state of having to deal with higher levels of blood glucose, even if these levels are technically in the high normal range. But still, the body has to work hard to store these excess glucose calories in the form of body fat. The reverse is true as well. As we eat better and eat lower glycemic foods which are closer to their natural original state, we increase the likelihood of our bodies letting go of excess weight. So in the process of losing weight, over time, this decreases the amount of blood glucose circulating at higher ranges in our bloodstream, which ultimately reduces A1C. Number 4, I've been talking about continuous glucose monitors for quite a while now, and I know for some they can be cost prohibitive, but combined with the use of a glycemic index chart, a continuous glucose monitor is an extremely useful tool which can help teach us which foods and beverages are actually impacting our blood glucose levels the most. If you watch this video here, I go into more detail about some of the other tools, including continuous glucose monitors, that you might consider investing in to monitor various parameters of your health. So I'll put the link at the end of this video. But my continuous glucose monitor has been eye-opening to me on so many different levels, even as a physician who has spent much of my career helping patients reach their weight loss and fitness goals and teaching the benefits of keto and low-carb nutrition. The continuous glucose monitor has helped me dial in my own diet to the point that before undergoing a right hip replacement last month, my pre-op A1C was 5.2 and completely normal, even though just around a year ago, a new doctor I'd gone to see labeled me as pre-diabetic because a single isolated fasting blood glucose came back at 113. Consequently, over the past year and up until my most recent normal pre-op A1C, I assumed the doctor was right, and I assumed I must be pre-diabetic. But that's why the continuous glucose monitor can be beneficial. It allows us to monitor blood glucose in a way that most people, including their own doctors, have never been able to visualize or understand in real time. So why might this matter? Well, if you watch this video here, you'll understand where the emphasis on A1C came from in the first place and how the marketing of A1C, along with the term prediabetes to the American public, created an imperative for doctors to prescribe pharmaceutical medications to individuals who may have only had mild elevations of their blood glucose in the first place. Given what I've learned using my own continuous glucose monitor, I now believe the creation of the diagnostic label of prediabetes for a patient, especially based on a single mild elevation of blood glucose, has the capacity in some cases to be wrong, and subsequently at times leading to unnecessary treatment of a presumed disorder which in reality may not actually even exist in a given patient. Consequently, a continuous glucose monitor offers a visual into a significantly larger time frame, detailing what might be occurring with serum glucose over a matter of days, weeks, and even months. This is information that can be reviewed with your doctor with the end goal of making the most informed diagnostic decisions where blood glucose control is concerned. So where the end goal of lowering your A1C is concerned, as I said before, along with a visual aid of a glycemic index chart, the continuous glucose monitor may help you dial in your own diet in a manner that allows you to dictate the direction your A1C takes. Number 5, the supplement Berberine. Now, berberine is a chemical derived from several different plants, such as golden seal, gold thread, or Oregon grapefruit, and it's been used in Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine for thousands of years to treat a variety of different ailments. It's been touted by clinicians and scientists for a broad variety of potential benefits, which include but are not limited to the treatment of type 2 diabetes, obesity, mood disorders, and certain heart conditions. Berberine has both anti-inflammatory capability as well as antimicrobial action. But where berberine is deemed to have promise in regard to lowering A1C is that berberine is felt to help improve insulin resistance, consequently improving blood glucose control. With better blood glucose control, weight loss is often a positive benefit. As we improve blood glucose control, A1C tends to naturally improve. Berberine is felt to have glucose lowering effects which are very similar to the most prescribed prescribed pharmaceutical drug in the world for type 2 diabetes, which is metformin. Berberine is felt to be relatively safe as a supplement with few significant side effects, but regardless, because its natural action is felt to be similar to that of metformin, and because we're all different and with different medical issues and concerns, it's important to talk to your doctor if you're considering taking berberine as a supplement. And if you're already taking medication for type 2 diabetes, you certainly want to talk to your doctor before adding any type of over-the-counter supplement which could interact with your current medication. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Please share it with someone you feel might benefit from watching it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.